Okay, welcome to Headway 101. My name is Corey Freeman, and in this webinar, we are going to talk about how to use the content block. If you hear an intermittent ding sound, that's people coming in and leaving. I would hope that that wouldn't show up on the recording, but just in case, that's what that is. Having a lot of weird technical issues with any meeting lately. But let's go ahead and get started. The content block is Headway's most powerful built-in block and allows you to display the content from WordPress onto your website. So we're going to go into grid mode. We're going to use an empty grid. And we're going to start by just drawing a content block. Click and drag and select content. It's got the little pencil icon. Then hit save. Okay, I have a static front page set up, and it's showing the content from that page. So if I go into my WordPress dashboard, please do not reload on me any meeting window, or I will cry. Alright, and then you go to settings, and then reading. You can see here it says front page displays, a static page, and then I'm using the page welcome, and the posts page, the blog index is going to be blog. If I choose your latest posts, which is the WordPress default, and reload, it's going to show me no content to display. Awesome. Why? Oh, because I didn't. Sorry. And then if you go into the visual editor grid mode, I'm actually just going to reload it. You'd be editing the blog index normally, so I'm going to go ahead and make a new content block. Again, click, drag, select content, save. Always save your changes. By default, if you don't have a static front page, then the content block will show your blog posts in chronological order, newest post at the top, oldest post at the bottom. So that is how it works by default. Can you guys still hear me? Because I'm super paranoid from last week. It looks like we're still good. I think it's because I got a new phone today. I'm super excited about the phone. I should probably stop talking about it on professional time. Okay, anyone confused about the basic premise of the content block? Just to double check. Alright. I like to start at the very beginning of webinars, so I know that that might seem like a simple question, but just in case. Moving on. So, the content comes from the backend, WordPress, which is a content management system, hence editing the content from it. I'm going to go back and actually set that static front page again. I'm just using a page called welcome, and then my post page is a page called blog. And then Elizabeth Saab is saying, just to clarify, you can have a static front page but change the content block daily, right? That's what we're going to get into next with the whole custom query thing. So we're going to do that right now. Right this second. Okay. So here's our front page, our welcome page. If I edit it real quick just to show you in WordPress, that's pages, all pages, welcome being the page that I assigned. I can rename it to home, and I can write, this is my static home page. I can edit the content via WordPress. Hit update. Reload. And you can see the content has changed. Alright, we're going to jump back into grid mode. Alright, we're going to click and drag and create another content block. Then save. So if I load the front page now, you can see that both content blocks have the same content. That's because it's just in default mode, so it's displaying what WordPress has defined as the content for this particular page. If I went to like the About page, I didn't put a nav block on here, but they've got, just kidding, because I have the blog index customized. It's a hierarchy thing. Sorry about that. Let's try again. Okay, now if I go to the About page, you can see the same thing would happen because it's drawing on the home page now. So what we need to do is put the block in custom query mode. You go here to Mode, Query, Custom Query, and you can see some new options drop down. Query filters is how we're going to define the content that we want to show up. If I reload and it's just in custom query mode, it's actually going to load blog posts the way the blog index does. So you can see that happening here. Just checking for questions. So in this case, if you do fetch page content, again, this is query filters in the block options. You can open up block options, by the way, by right-clicking, or you can click on the gears icon. I've gotten into right-clicking so much that I forgot to explain that. But if you want to display a page, a static WordPress page, under the Pages menu in the dashboard, here where it says Pages, you would use the fetch page query that I just picked. So here it's fetching my About page. And this is the basically the best way to make editable text areas for clients on client sites. So they could go into the WordPress dashboard, go to Pages, edit the About page, and then change the content. Like, this is my client's company description. They've been operating since, I don't know, 1999 or something. Almost 7 then. So as you can see, that changes. The About page still exists, by the way. So if I go to About, it's still going to show me the About content. Michelle Long is asking, how does it know to put the blog content in block number 3? Which I guess is this block. Yes, the new one. It's just a WordPress thing. It's it's querying WordPress for what kind of content we ask for. So by default, it's just gonna load blog posts as opposed to pages, because that's, I guess, what the WP query does. But then we can choose what we want to display depending. So I'm just gonna leave that on About. We're just gonna add another new content block. So that's page query. And now we're going to add a content block. Click drag content mode, custom query, again, because we want to display something other than the front page content. Query filters. This time we're gonna not fetch any page content. We're gonna ignore that. And we're gonna do, let's just go ahead and do it on default, like it would be a blog index, and then reload. So in this case, for Elizabeth, who asked earlier, this would be where your posts would change daily. So if I go into WordPress and add a new post, and say, I don't know, just call it like daily update or something. This is the news for May 8th, 2013. I am 3 whole days behind. It's not Sunday anymore. You can see that that post would be added. You can, all the posts are displaying that I just added here. You can choose the number of posts that display by this option, number of posts. Default is 10, you could change it to 3. Save, reload. There's actually only 3 posts on this demo site, so that's a terrible example. And now my phone is going off because my mother is texting me. Sorry about that. That is a strong vibrate. Reload. There you go. So there'd be like 1. It does show the older next posts thing by default, and we will get into that in a second about the display options for the content block. Is anyone super confused by custom query, just like the general premise, or have any specific questions about it? Looks like we're good about the general idea of custom query. Sweet. Okay, let's go through the other filters then. So other things you can filter by include categories. Let me go and make this post a different category. Post categories, so I'll just call this one news. This is just me editing content via WordPress as you would in general. I'll try not to switch so quickly between windows because I know that's a little confusing. I go a little fast. Sorry. Okay. Reloading because I just changed that post category and it's not going to show up automatically. Query filters again, which is how we're choosing what content we want to fetch, to grab. You could do categories. You could include just one specific category by highlighting it, and the category mode would be include, and then saving. So if I reload, you can see that my update, my daily news post is gone, and it's now showing the latest post from the uncategorized category, which is a hard word to say over and over. If you wanted to do multiple categories, it says here hold control on Windows or the command key on Mac. So you would make it so that both are highlighted. Leave them highlighted, don't unhighlight them, reload, and it will show the latest post from both. And I'll change that number of posts back to 3 so you can see that it really is doing that. Voila. You can exclude categories, just change this drop down to exclude, in which case you can see it stops showing any content. So you can just leave stuff out depending on how you're organizing your content. If you don't want anything excluded, just unhighlight everything. So that looks like that. You would be using the command or control key again. You can arrange things by author. In this case, you would just highlight all the authors you wanted to show. Post type, that is for custom post types. So I'll do that. I don't know if I added an actual post to those. Custom post types are made via code or via a plugin. I use the plugin Custom Post Types UI. And what post types are, if you've never heard of them before, they're just new types of content. They work just like posts or pages, but you get like a whole new link. So for this tutorial, I added the post type snippets, and I can add a snippet and maybe, I don't really know, I'm just going to call it snippet number 1. Iron your shirt before work interview. No sound. Audio cutting in and out again. Awesome. Love it. I'm just going through the query options. I'll run through that again because apparently the audio is cutting in and out because the Wi-Fi hates me. Post types was basically in the last 30 seconds or so. And I have a post type called snippets. You just select them like you would do the categories, and then they'll display. So that was one of the query filters, is what I was just talking about. And also you can do the same thing with authors. You can select multiple post types, by the way, doing the whole control or command thing. Default is posts. Offset is how many posts you want to skip, in case you have multiple content blocks side by side, kind of like if you wanted to do a columned thing. So 1 means it would skip the latest post, 2 meaning it would skip the 2 latest posts, and so on and so forth. You can order the posts or reorder them by date, alphabetically by title, randomly, or by ID, which means the order in which you created them in WordPress. And then you can do that ascending or descending. So that is all of the query filters for separating out and defining what content you want in custom query mode. And Michelle is asking, you get snippets by using the plugin you mentioned. Yeah, so there's a whole tutorial about how to use custom post types on Headway 101, and if you YouTube the Headway 101 channel, it's up there. I use custom post types UI. That's the plugin. I just made a new custom post type and I called it snippets. You can call them whatever you want, and that's where that came from. And you can filter them out again by post type, which is one of those things. And then it says how to select a certain category within a custom post. That's from Sasha, which I hope I'm saying right. You would do categories. I don't actually have a custom post type category, but you can configure custom post types to use categories. So you would do exclude or include categories, and then also the post type. That's a bunch of buttons I'd have to press that would confuse people watching, but hopefully that sort of makes sense. You would select the category that you put the custom post type content into, and then also select the custom post type. You can select multiple things at once in queries. Does the query filter thing generally make sense? Like the picking what you want to grab as opposed to the default? Because after that, it's all display options. Okay, looks like people are on board with the whole grabbing content thing. So let's now talk about display options. So we move one section down below query filters to display. I'm going to bring this up a little and get rid of that. Oh, also these block options are specific, not universal, unless of course you're mirroring a block. So if I'm mirroring block 2, it'll also be a custom query. If I'm mirroring block 3, it would also show the about page. But obviously you don't have to have these specific blocks on each and every page. So just like any other block, these options are specific to that block, as opposed to design options, which might be global, depending on how you use them. Anyway, the first option with display is the read more text. So over here, you can see here where it says continue reading. I can change that to like, click this. Just type it in there, hit save, reload, And you can see here it says click this. You can put brackets around it if you want to. You could write it in a different language. I don't know any different languages, so I can't demonstrate that, but I'd assume you would know how to spell your native language, so just type it in there. Show titles is a toggle. If you uncheck it and hit save, it gets rid of the titles. I don't really know where that would come in handy off the top of my head. If you only wanted to show pictures, that's where that would come in handy. Entry content display. Normal means one featured post by default and the rest as excerpts. Show full entries, if I hit save and select that and reload, means no continue reading button. You show the full article with all of its formatted text and such. Show excerpts means that it shows a certain number of characters or the custom excerpt if you're using one, which I can show you real quick. When you edit a post and you scroll down, apparently way down, or not at all, under screen options there should be one that says excerpt. This is a WordPress thing, by the way. Okay. Here we go. Sorry. Excerpt. This post demonstrates using header tags. Might be my custom excerpt. Reload, and you can see that is what it says instead of that predefined number of characters. Okay. And then hide entry content means it won't show the text from this window, the content, but it will still show the title and the metadata. And that's good for like recent posts or headlines or something. And change that back to normal. Show entry means that it won't show anything if you uncheck it. So no title, no meta, no content. Comments visibility. Automatic means that comments don't show on the front page, they don't show on static pages, and they don't show in archives. But they will show on single posts and possibly single custom post types, depending on how you have that configured. Always hide comments means never show the comments or the comment post box. And then always show comments means show the comments and the form, the comment form. And that's how you would get comments on pages or on your blog index if for some reason you wanted those. Though that's not really recommended, having comments on your homepage. Featured posts is the number of full-length posts you would want to show when the entry content display is normal. 1 is the default. 2 would mean 2 full posts, 3, and so on and so forth. You can set it to 0 to show excerpts without changing this display to excerpts. And that's good for having excerpts on the home page, but full posts on the single page. So, for instance, I can show you an example of that on my personal blog, because that's how I have it set up. So, in this one, I have no featured articles on the home page, but then it's full length on my single posts page. Show single post navigation is whether or not it shows the previous and next buttons only on the single page though. That one's a little, you probably won't ever mess around with that one. And then show edit link is whether or not you see this edit entry link when you hover. That might be to like reduce JavaScript, or if you're hiding it from other logged in users that can edit posts from the main place, or if you just don't want to see it. Whoops. Sorry about that. Okay, those are all the display options. Any questions about the display options as they have been described? Looks like we're good. You guys are smart. Not that I didn't think you were smart, but like, make my job easier. Meta. Let me go check. Meta is this stuff right here. It's called metadata if you've never heard that word before. Some people pronounce it meta, but that's not how I pronounce it. So that's the posted on, by user, number of comments, filed under, etc. You edit that. So here we have the entry display per post type, so you can edit it when you're editing the meta display for snippets or for media or for pages or whatever. You'd have to change what appears here, or you can select multiples to this side. Meta above content is this area up here, above the content. By default, posted on, date, by author, dot comments. These percentage, word percentage things are called variables. And I have a list of them somewhere. Not written down in the post-it note, which would have been great. Ignore me humming any Mario theme songs, by the way. This is a piece of documentation from Headway 101 where it has all the variables. It's also on YouTube. How to edit post metadata, Headway 101, if you go over to the YouTube channel. But author, date, comments, respond, categories, tags, and I also believe time is one. So %time, for instance, would give us the time display. So published at %time, for instance. Sorry, %time is the variable which automatically inserts the time, which you can edit the display of here, where it says time format, is an example of changing the metadata. Meta below content, stuff under here, same variables, apply, all that good stuff. If you don't want anything to show, you can just delete everything in that particular text area, and it goes away. Any questions about metadata? Again, there's a whole video on the Headway 101 YouTube channel, youtube.com/Headway101. Cool, breezing right along. I like it. It's fun. Comments. Let's go to a singular page. All right, I'm actually going to go ahead and edit the single page layout in the grid mode. Just going to click edit and use an empty grid. Okay, so in this one, I'm just going to click and drag and add a new content block in default mode. You can have as many content blocks as you want. You can spread them out between pages, whatever. So this is my single layout, so this is how it'll look on single pages. If I go to the home page, you'll see our 3 custom ones. This one's on default mode. This one's grabbing a page. This one's grabbing blog posts. And this one is just grabbing whatever is supposed to happen on single pages without those. On single pages, it will display all the content, formatted and such. For blog posts, it's going to have that data, that metadata. And for pages, it's not, because that's how pages work. And the reason that the metadata goes back to default is because I didn't mirror this block or anything. In case you're wondering what happened there. Okay, comments. First one is comment form title, leave or reply. I guess I'll change it to give your opinion, exclamation point. Save, reload. That's how that changes. Again, if you speak a different language, type it in your language. Reply form title. Leave a reply to the title, I believe. Okay, I'm sorry. That's when you're replying to other commentators, when you have the nested comments. Let me get the hello world one. What? Where are my comments? Just kidding. I don't know where I put anything on this website. Here we go. So where it says reply, it should say leave a reply to whoever. And then cancel reply text would be this cancel reply. I don't know why this one isn't showing the form. I probably broke it. Or I might have accidentally closed comments on that one. Submit text is here where it says post comment. Whoa. My bad. Dragging and dropping whole Firefox windows now. Where it says post comment, you can change that to like submit, which is a lot more boring, but you could do it if you wanted to. Okay, and then here's where you can edit the metadata display. So that's for this meta part, when it says like comments, or if you use the meta respond, sorry, or if you use the meta respond. So let me stick that in here. That below the content, so you can see it. Reload. So here where it says respond, the default is leave a comment. Over here where it says comments, you can change that to add your thoughts. And you can see here it's changed. And then you've got the comment format for more than one comment. So where it says 0 comments, it could be, that's actually a different one. That's actually like 0 comments, but you could write no comments or nobody talked or something. 1 comment could be like 1 response. %num is the number of comments. That's a variable that works in this meta field. That was a lot of rambling. Did the comments make sense? Michelle Long is asking, how did you get the title of the previous post or next post to appear instead of showing click here? That is just how the single post page works. It's not a read more, it's a navigation between different post pages. That one you actually have to change to PHP if and you wanted it to change. Looks like we're good on the comments options. Featured images. Let me add a featured image. Probably be helpful. Featured images are another function of WordPress if you've never used them before. On the right hand side here, it says featured image. I'm going to use set featured image. And then you just grab a picture. Looks like I have a stock photo here, so I don't have to use a picture of my face. Sort of prepared. Featured image position, you can set from within WordPress. Use block default means use the controls from the content block options. Or you can do left, right, above title, above content, which would be below the title. I probably breezed through the whole setting the featured image thing. You just grab it from your media library, upload it from your computer, you can link to it. If you don't want that featured image, just click remove featured image. Which saves automatically, apparently. Whoops. You can see here I'm selecting it from my media library and then clicking the blue button. And then hitting update. Okay. So that the featured image by default appears to the left of the title, the metadata, and the content, and then it's above the actual bottom meta. So that's the default position. Here, under featured images, you can choose whether or not to show the featured image, and then the position, so I'll change that to right. And it goes right. Above title, save and reload. It appears above the title. It's cropped because of the way it's sized, which I'll show you in a second. And then above content, hit save. It shows up above the content, but below the title and the metadata. It says I'm in and out again. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me now? It's choppy. Awesome. Awesome. Storm clouds are rolling in, that's probably the issue. My mic is shorting out, it says. I don't know what that means, but try rotating this thing. Okay. To recap what I just said, we're talking about featured images. Mildly concerned that the mic issues might be my laptop and not any meeting, but I'll have to test that over the weekend. And you should be good to go on the recording. Thank you for sticking with me, though. Always appreciated. Featured image positioning, again, left, right, above title, above content, which also means below title and below the metadata. Use per entry featured image positions means that you can either have them all universal, no worrying about setting them in the back end, and they'll show up wherever you've determined over here, or you can set a custom position per post if you wanted to. So that'd be good for like magazine type things. Okay. Featured image sizing, featured image size left and right, that's for the left and right positions. And here where it says 125, that's just a square ratio. You could make it, use the slider to make it bigger, up to 400 pixels. Technically it goes by like 2 pixels. It's a little finicky. As sliders tend to be. But you can see here when I change it to left, you can see how it becomes a square. And the same thing with right. Same size square. Above the title, it's a height ratio. So you can set it to 100% to use the height. of, you know, I don't really know what the percentages mean. You just mess with the slider on that one. I guess it means the height of the actual image, because my image is now 100%. Cropping featured images means whether or not you want them to be resized to fit and cut off in proportion. I just try to make my featured images when I'm actually making them the same size as I've set them in the content block. That's all the featured image stuff. Does anyone need me to go over that again? Cool. We are nearing the end. Actually, that is the end of our content block options. So this is now the 15-minute Q&A portion. Nice. We did it. We made it. Yes. Viable recording achieved. So, does anyone have any questions about usage cases or anything? Those are all the options, and the potential is limitless for you to mess around with. Okay. Sasha Shea is asking, what about making the content block float above and the comments separate? Yep, we can do that. So, we'll go to comments over here. I lied. We're going to display. Display. And then where it says comments visibility, I'm going to choose always hide comments. And then over here, I'm going to create a new content block. I'm going to do default behavior because this is our single post page, so our comments are going to show up. And I'm just going to go ahead and do display, hide entry content. I might actually just click show, or I'm going to untoggle show entry, actually. And where it says comments visibility, I'm going to pick always show comments just in case. Save, reload, and you can see the comments will appear here, but not under the post. So that's how you would have like the content over here and then the comments over here. Obviously, you could put this extra one underneath. The content block, and then you could put a block in between them, like an affiliate block, which I'm developing right now but isn't available, so check back for that and extend at a later date. And then Terry asks about how to put other images in the content block area. That is done through WordPress. So I'm going to edit this post. I'm going to add some more text. And then you go to add media, upload files if you haven't already uploaded it. I'm going to upload this picture of myself as a My Little Pony, no judging. Over here, you can choose whether or not to link it to anything. The alignment, I'm going to choose center, and then the size. I'm just going to choose medium. You can click and drag to resize it though, as necessary. And then click update. And then view posts. Sorry, my phone vibrated again and scared me. You probably didn't even hear that. And that's how you add pictures to your content. Done through WordPress. Augustin, aka Gus, is asking, what about all the margins and padding? Let's go to design mode. We didn't really talk about designing for the content block. But yeah, there's a bunch of padding and stuff. Apparently I'm on the front page. Go to content down here in the editor. And then there's some of this in the How to Design with Headway webinar too, which is on YouTube. If you have the inspector enabled, it'll highlight it, but I hit the button. Let me reload. Sometimes I hit buttons without thinking about it. Okay. Highlight content, and it'll highlight your content blocks. So you can see by default, content blocks have a margin of 10 at the bottom. Customize the bottom margin to get 0. Then you've got the entry container, which contains the content in the actual entry. In this case, it's mostly posts. That's got a bottom padding of 30 and a top padding of 10. You can customize that to 0. There's a bottom margin, which you can change, or you can just add a number if you want to make it higher. There's the title, which has a bottom margin. The body text has some margins about it. And then the meta has margins. Basically just enable the inspector and mess around with those. And margins are yellow. Padding is purple. Okay. Sasha Shea is asking about adding scripts to content blocks. You'll need to use hooks for that. I say a lot. So for example, I don't have it installed, so I'll just install it. My Headway hooks plugin, free to download if you're a Headway101.com member, $25 if you're not, or if you canceled your subscription and you want updates, is somewhere in this ridiculous stash of files I have. You can also do this through, what? Oh, I just don't have it activated. You can also do this through child themes, if you have a child theme enabled. So for instance, I'm going to go into Easy Hooks, content, after entry content, if you wanted to do author stuff, author bios. So I totally search my own site for tutorials all the time because I forget. Not even kidding. And then Sasha is asking if Easy Hooks can be used to add JavaScript. Yes, it can. I'm just going to grab the most important parts of this. Okay, so you can use PHP, you can use JavaScript, you can use HTML, and you can also use shortcodes in these boxes, not in the custom CSS or custom PHP boxes. Those are for their respective thoughts. But yeah, you would paste your code in here, and then you can see here it's showing the author data that comes from the profile, which I didn't fill out. The actual code snippets on Headway 101 though show you can copy and paste those into a child theme functions.php file, or you can use Easy Hooks and add them to the hooks. And yes, you can use JavaScript. Terry is asking how to work Wraparound Picture. It only wants to put words last line of the picture. Nope, no sound. Can you hear me now? Okay. Right, let me edit this post. Grab more. I'm just gonna copy and paste this. Wonderful. Okay. What you want to do, this is more like a WordPress tutorial at this point, but you can align left or right. Make sure it's at the first line of your paragraph. I'm gonna hit update, and then view post. Like that. Ignore the author stuff down here. I didn't add any CSS to it, so it's just being weird. That's how you wrap words around images in WordPress. Oh god. Don't freeze on me. Okay, any other questions? Michelle Wong is asking if you can position the text halfway down the picture. I don't know. Maybe. I guess if you added a bunch of line breaks. Yes. I just hit the enter button a bunch of times. The image itself is aligned right. I just unaligned it, but I can realign it. You just use the button. The buttons. A good resource, by the way, for learning WordPress and how it works is WP 101. Headway actually has those videos. I don't know if they're still in the wiki though, because I know they're redoing their documentation right now. But if you don't want to access them through Headway, don't beep at me, computer. It's just WP101.com. If you wanted to sign up. And they do have white label for those of you developers that want to teach other people. And a plugin, which I guess shows you the videos while you're in WordPress. I don't really use the plugin. Roger is asking if there's an upgrade path from 2 to 3. Not yet. I haven't worked on it. I don't work on it at all, or develop with Headway. I don't work for them, so official releases and paths and stuff you'd need to ask them about. I, though, will upgrade your website by hand. Right now, it's $200. Headway101.com says upgrade. Headway for basic sites. That's per site. If your site has a lot of custom code on it, though, please tell me in advance. Unfortunately, there was a client who had customized almost every page, and I didn't find out until the end of the project. So, also I can't upgrade multi-sites because I don't have enough experience with multi-sites yet. Augustin/Gus is asking me to repeat something, but I don't know what it is he wants me to repeat. But what I just said like 45 seconds ago was that there are, that you want to go to WP101.com to learn WordPress. Since 3.0 tutorials are longer usable to current version, I'm asked when new tutorials. I don't really understand your question, Gus, but I post new tutorials as often as possible, usually at a rate of 1 per week, and I add videos to the YouTube page, and I'm adding documentation to the premium section and such, running webinars. I don't know how often Headway updates their stuff or what their schedule is. If you have any questions about the official Headway support stuff or documentations or whatever, you gotta ask them. Not privy to that information. Any other questions about the content block? Otherwise, that is a wrap on the whole content webinar. You're free to go. Thank you all for sticking when the audio is going in and out. Not next week. Yes, next week, apparently. Next week's webinar is on using PHP. Check that out on headway101.com/classes. And then I'll do a bunch more testing with the microphones, because I think that might be my computer and Firefox. Probably Firefox. Firefox is being a jerk. I'm going to stop the recording now. So if you're watching the recording, thanks for watching.